Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 5th July 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube, hariboltrsvnectar, nectar, nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have gleaned in our previous videos or talked about. In other words, this video is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in my previous videos. Please subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos. So let us continue with the topic for today. Except for my previous videos, in the past few videos, we have been talking about the concept of karma in the life of a common human living entity in any birth of his or her own. We know that karma plays a large part in the lives of a human living entity. Actually, karma is the foundation for whatever a person experiences during his or her lifetime. This karma is divided into four parts. The first part is known as Sanchit karma. This Sanchit karma is the storage of all unworked karma of a human living entity which is kept as an archive in the psyche of that human living entity, and this belongs to karma of several births, right from the first birth of this human living entity as a human being. The second is known as prarabdha karma. This prarabdha karma is very important in the sense that whenever a human living entity, whether male or female, takes birth in a particular birth, his or her foundation for that life belongs, the foundation for that particular person in that life depends on a slice of his or her Sanchit karma to be worked out in that particular birth. In other words, the human living entity comes into this world along with a slice of his or her Sanchit karma, and this slice, which lays the foundation for his or her life in a particular birth, is called Prarabdha karma. The third is called Kriyamana karma. Destiny and the Supreme Personality of Godhead has given a free will to every human living entity when he or she takes birth in this world. Along with the prarabdha karma that is already the foundation, there is also a free will karma of a human living entity which he or she can use in any birth of his or her own. Free will means activities or karma done by that human living entity according to his or her choices, preferences, whims, and fantasies in a particular birth. They are completely different from the prarabdha karma of that human living entity. This third category of karma is known as Kriyamana karma. When this person finally leaves his or her body in a particular birth, he or she still has some unworked prarabdha karma plus some unworked kriyamana karma. The two of them are joined together and are called agami karma. This agami or future karma is when this particular karma or the combination of the residue from this living entity's prarabdha karma's unworked part and kriyamana karma's unworked part is again joined or pasted to the already existing Sanchit karma. In other words, this person will, when he or she selects another slice of his or her Sanchit karma for a future birth, can have a slice of even this agami unworked karma in it. Thus, there are four categories for every human living entity. This has been going on birth, death after death of every human living entity. This finally stops only when all the karmas have been worked out or this living entity gets some divine grace. In such a case, he or she gets liberated from future births and deaths, and thus all this exercise becomes nullified. We have discussed several case histories to authenticate this theory. Today we will discuss about our own life to see how our own karma has brought us to the present state and how we can change it to be better in a future birth. Today I am going to talk about TSV, V. Raghavan, that is the birth of my own soul as T.S.V. Raghavan in this lifetime. For the sake of convenience, I am henceforth going to identify myself with this name so that there need not be any confusion. So let us begin. I, T.S.V. Raghavan, was born at 12:05 p.m. on a Saturday on 15th November 1958 in the capital city of Karnataka, Bangalore, which is today Bengaluru, and I was christened T.S.V. Raghavan. My family was respectable and middle class. My father held a very good government job. I have been observing my own life and have come to a conclusion that my prarabdha karma began working slightly before I was even born. How this is possible, I'll let you know now. When my mother was expecting me on a particular date, that is 15th November 1958, she, being a very orthodox lady, along with her own mother, that is my grandmother, was informed by the Hindu astrologer that the time of my birth could be predicted as that in which the star sign of Purvashada in Hindi and Puralam in South is prevalent. In other words, I will be born in the star sign of Puralam. This Puralam is an excellent sign, but alas, some superstitious people of yore believed that it was not very auspicious for a girl child. Actually, my father wanted a girl child instead of me. I don't know what exactly happened then, but my mother prayed to God that I should escape the plight of a girl child in the Puralam Nakshatram, Puralam star sign, and thus I should be born a boy. This was certainly not either good or bad, because though I was born ultimately as a boy, my troubles began there and then. When I was 20 days, I repeat, 20 days old, my umbilical cord became septic and it poisoned all the blood in my body. How this happened, we don't know medically, but it seems that some reaction in my mother's metabolism because of her fervent prayers that I should be born a boy affected my umbilical cord, as a result of which, though I was supposed to be born a woman and was ultimately born a boy, I had several negative reactions in my body. This made my body fully poisoned, and the doctors saved me by inserting 32 penicillin injections in my 20-day-old body. Whatever happened otherwise, I don't know. But I know that because of this, I probably began suffering several physical ailments which confused not only my parents but also the doctors. This shows that my prarabdha karma was designed in such a way that I should go through all these troubles right in after my birth. Second, I was born a left-hander, but my ancestors, who were very superstitious, thought that a boy who was born a left-hander was devil's child, and so my own parents and grandparents gradually converted my psyche in such a way that I was forced to use my right hand while reading and writing. This medically had its effects. Probably I was naturally born a left-hander, and so my right brain was very powerful. But because I was forced to use my right hand and my left brain was not very well developed, I suffered through a lot of period during my studies, my schooling, my education, and my jobs. Several people used to get confused at, as to what was my problem because of this, though they did not know what the reason was. I myself came to know about it only after, at the age of 56, I got a stroke. Anyway, due to my prarabdha karma, my trials and tribulations took me to a life of a lot of hurdles, both in the education side as well as in the career side. I suffered a lot not only because of my umbilical cord, I also suffered because of this left brain, right brain problem. This shows that my prarabdha karma was working full bloom. Anyway, to cut the story short, when I was 56, that is on 15th November 2015, yeah, 2014, my father died 3 days later. That is, I completed 56 at the age on 15th November 2014, and on 18th November 2014 my father expired. Further, I also suffered a major stroke on 14th March 2015 that left my right side paralyzed. This had its own effects in the sense that now I was forced to become a left-hander. Let us go back to my life. As I told, I went through a lot of trials, tribulations, failures, and frustrations. But at the age of 35, probably directly or indirectly, my free will woke up in the sense that I became introduced to spiritualism. Before this, I was not interested in spiritualism, but after the age of 35, I became more and more spiritual. However, the effects of my prarabdha karma were still active. I wanted to be a writer, but I was a right-hander, and wherever I tried to publish my stories or went to approach people to help me, I came back with dejection, failure, and frustration. However, when at the age of 56, which is my third rebirth, I got a major stroke and was forced to become a left-hander. I achieved in the next 7 years what I could not achieve in the first 56 years. I wrote and published 34 novelettes, plus I had my own website, plus I also began vlogging in my own vlog in YouTube, and this vlog is known as hariboltrsvnectar. Not surprisingly, I chose spiritualism as my favorite subject to vlog. This shows that my Kriyamana karma was giving my life a new turn. Till now, I was totally materialistic, and my Sanchit karma and Prarabdha karma were both materialistic. But in this birth, due to some Prarabdha karma and a lot of Kriyamana karma, I became more and more spiritual. I achieved more in the 7 years after my 56th year than what I had achieved in my first 56 years. My life changed, my career changed, my outlook changed, and I was introduced to a wholly new range of life, which was more spiritual than material. I am telling you all this because, in my case, you will know how the Kriyamana karma of an individual can take a drastically different turn in his or her karma and destiny. He or she may be materialistic till then, but if he or she applies his or her free will positively, then he or she may turn spiritual. At the risk of repeating what I have already said, I would like to remind every viewer that All the great men, including the top spiritualists and materialistic achievers, were as ordinary a human being as we all are. The only fact is that their own karma changed gradually because of their free will being applied positively. As for example, every businessman, tycoon, or magnate must have had several trials and tribulations in the business field in his or her lifetime. However, all this was taken and worked out either in those lifetimes or was taken as a part of his or her sanchit karma. This resulted in this particular living entity selecting a slice of sanchit karma called prarabdha karma, which was full of unworked materialistic karma of past few births. This has resulted in that person being successful in the field of business. This is applicable to every profession or creative talent of a particular person. A painter, a musician, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, etc., must be having such prarabdha karma that was full of unworked past karma, and it helped that person to become successful in this lifetime. As for example, a person could have been forced to work due to his or her circumstances as a compounder or a nurse. But this person probably nursed an ambition to become a successful doctor or surgeon. Before he or she could achieve it, he or she experienced in his or her past births, expired during his or her past birth. Because he or she expired then, his or her unworked karma or desire or activity was stored in his or her sanchit karma. This resulted in his becoming a doctor in a future birth because the slice of prarabdha karma he or she brought to this world had all his or her previous tribulations in the past births. Such a thing happens to every human living entity. The same way, if you use your kriyamana karma for a particular materialistic or spiritual activity, but you fail, no problem. The unworked karma of that particular birth becomes a part of your agami karma and pasted to your already existing sanchit karma. This will help select a slice called prarabdha karma for your future birth. This is the reason why it is said that if you use your free will to become spiritual, your spiritual journey begins right then. You may not succeed in a particular birth, but at least you have heralded a beginning in your destiny. In your next birth, you will be a seeded player in spiritualism. It is thus that spiritualists, monks, renunciants, demigods, angels, rishis, maharishis, etc. climb up the ladder or the rungs of the ladder of success in spiritualism. So much so that one day the time will come or the moment will come when this particular living entity, which could also be you, will reach a zenith where he or she will get self realized, then liberated, and ultimately go back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is the ultimate aim. I sincerely hope that you have heard what I have said about karma in this video and that it will help you charter your own path of spiritual success in future. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Please give me your own expert views, thoughts, ideas, and opinions so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism, as is quite evident, is my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.